All right, let's get into it. Let's start taking care of the feet. You're gonna grab a ball, and it's really simple. Realistically, we need to have our feet exposed to novel surfaces so that they can adapt and the musculature of the arch can get stronger. So let's start with the left foot. You're gonna place the ball behind the big toe mound and just put some pressure into it. Feel the calf stretch and just breathe about it. This is the kind of thing that intuitively you just gotta spend some time on. You gotta view it more as an exploration rather than I'm trying to do X, Y, Z in terms of opening up the foot. And so I'll apply more pressure. But it's really more of an investigation. You're trying to do, the first pass is like broad strokes, right? Like a large paint roller. You can rotate the ankle. Right, just open it up. Breathe about it. I'm now towards the pinky edge. Then we're gonna get right into the toes. Tends to be where most of the tension lies, for me at least. I'm just gonna splay the toes over the ball and stretch into it. I'm gonna allow my knee to track forward to increase the stretch. If this is intense, go slower, of course. And I'll play it towards the other toes, the middle three. This is the kind of thing I like to do to prep in the morning or at the end of the day. Honestly, you can do this sort of all the time. This is just soft tissue work. This isn't gonna necessarily change the structure of the foot. That's gonna require more strengthening and different mobility movements. But this is what's gonna allow blood to get to the space and start to open it up. Right now towards the heel. I'm gonna roll back, just kind of painting towards the front again. Opening up the foot, leaning into it. You're trying to make your foot as you want wide monkey toes. I know that might not be fashionable, but your toes need to, and your foot needs to get wide and it needs to be able to splay out so it can capture the ground, so it can be very articulate. And then you want the arches to have strength in them so that you can move in dynamic ways as well as support more load. Old wisdom would say, oh, you should get arch supports and things no, you need to build your arch. That's way more important than just trying to put a structure underneath it, because then the arch itself gets lax and weak. Okay, so you do the same thing on the other side. And if you go back on another pass and you find that there's still lots of tension, spend more time. It's truly a simple thing. It just takes consistent practice. You just gotta check in on it every day. It's kind of like running diagnostics, how are my feet doing? And usually they're tight. How are your calves doing? Usually they're also going to be tight. Right, so we have our slant board right here afterwards. Once we kind of open up the foot, I can tell my right foot still needs a little bit more love. Once you open up the foot, you want to start strengthening the foot and the calf. So we're gonna do that in two ways. Calf raises, but first I'll kind of just play into the sensation and stretching of the calf. Pull side to side, work through the toes, drive through the ball of the foot, extension, lowering. You can do so many of these. Usually, since I tend to train these regularly, I'll move towards one-legged things. Control, control, down slow, up, down slow, switch, slow, switch, slow. I'm noticing there's some pain in my right second big toe behind the ball toe mound, so I'm going to slow it down. Allow some stretching to occur here. And every day can be a little bit different, so if you're noticing that there's more tension one day than another, that's fine. It's just information. Move side to side. Okay, once you've done a round or so of that, we're gonna strengthen the front of the foot, tibialis anterior. So I've got a little band right here attached to a kettlebell. You can attach it to anything. You can attach it to a leg of a table, of a couch, whatever. I'm just gonna bring myself in until I have enough tension. This is a light medium band. You can use a smaller band for sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna allow my foot to extend out and then use my toes and my ankle to drive back, control away, drive back, control away. And I'll just play with these until the muscles on the shin, this tibialis anterior, starts to fatigue. I want these muscles to get strong and active. This is what decelerates load when you land, when you step, when you run, every single step. Okay, you can just pass to the other foot. You can also play with rotation, so you get a little bit more ankle articulation. As a person who has torn his ankles and broken his ankles when he was younger, these are the physical therapy exercises that you just need to spam these. Spam the raises, spam the tibialis anterior work. Do it throughout the day. You're bored, do it throughout the day. You can place the band on different variations of the toes. So like it's now not over my big toe. It's now not over my pinky toe. And I'll just pull with these three because I want to develop the bridge of the foot here. So hammer toe and things like that are when the toe's like pulling in and kind of nodding up here. That can happen from overuse. It can also happen from underuse. But the toe's always pressing down. Never is it developing the backside chain to balance out those two actions of drawing up and drawing down. So you need to spend more time on that which is weak. So if this hasn't been exercised much, you need to put your emphasis here and get like, get like 30, get like 40 at a time and do a few sets. Walk around, do some more calf raises, do a few more sets. This is something that if you are struggling with foot pain, toe pain, hammer toe type stuff, ankle injuries, you should be spending at least 10 minutes once, twice a day. I would say probably twice a day. And then spam it throughout the day. Like I'm a really big fan of you're bored in a line waiting for your groceries, knock out some calf raises. You're bored in whatever, watching some TV. This is something that I like in most exercises to put a bunch of intention towards it, right? To really be focusing in. But when you're training this, like you can totally spam these while watching a TV show. It's not the end of the world. That's fine. Good. You want to balance them out. If you do a little bit more on one side, it's not a big deal. Okay, I like to stretch my feet afterwards. A lot of ways to do that. So let's work towards dorsiflexion first. If you need, you can have blocks or something underneath your hands, but your hands are going to go in front of your knees. You're going to roll the legs back and down. So this is going to be hip and ankle mobility. I do these every day. This is always part of my warm-up for yoga, for athletics, for strength, whatever it is. I want to feel into my hips. I allow my knees to come out. I expand into my adductors. I draw them back. And again, it's all about getting curious with what the body is saying, what's going on. Okay, so we're doing dorsiflexion. We want to do plantar flexion next. So we're going to untuck the toes. This can be quite intense, so be mindful. And you can use supports here for your hands if you have them. Sink back. This can be a lot. This can also be so much on the quads. So if this is too much on the quads, you can place something underneath your hips. Like I have a little yoga wheel, and I can just sit here. You can place pillows. Be creative with it. Eventually, you want to stretch the ankles the other way. So we want to lean back. If this is a ton of tension in the quad and the knee and it's like, this is really intense, don't force into this. That is not the vibe. If it is a lot like this and you've never really spent any time here, support your weight with your hands and just stretch the feet minimally. That's okay. You can lift the knees up from here and stretch my ankles a little bit more as well. Eventually, this is the kind of thing in yoga where you lean your body all the way back, right? But we just want to work through different ranges, multiple times. You can't just stretch it once. It's just like a muscle stretching is. It's not like I do one set of bicep curls and I'm like, great, that's it. I taught the muscle once. Like, no, you need to do several sets to inform the body that something needs to change, that you were trying to morph and shift how things operate. Takes time. Good, so you're gonna inhale open, go back to these. Stretch the feet. You can also drive yourself forward. Right, I'll do something like probably 15, 20 of these. These little monkey movements, little rocking and rolling. Something like that. And then switch. Pull it back. Just getting the ankles online, opened up. Usually I'd probably pair this with something like a low lunge. So left leg's a step forward. And I'll drive my right shin into the ground. I'm going to think about opening up my right hip flexor. I'm going to sink into it a little bit, keep driving down to that back leg. And then I might open the arm out to the side, look over to the right. Breathe about it, sink in a little bit more. Come back, switch it up. Right leg forward. Left shin pressed into the ground. I find that space first. I feel into my left hip flexor. It's feeling tight. That tracks. I was running a bunch. Okay, I'm going to lean into it, sink into it. Breathe about it. Come out of it. Bring myself up. And just because I'm a fun guy, go back to my calf raises. I'll lift and lower. Extend and control. Nice and slow. But we want to feel what do the calves connect with as far as extension. So I'm working extension, right? I'm trying to drive upwards. My glutes. So as I'm going up, I want to feel my glutes kind of squeeze, my quads squeeze, right? How can we work the full leg even if we're just working the distal part of the limb? Spend time exploring these ranges. That's the way you'll get progress. It's got to be a big thing of curiosity. You're just educating the body. And then I go back to see how it feels. Now, definitely much more open. A lot more blood has passed through the foot and ankle. Splay them toes, get them big monkey paws going. Breathe about it, stretch it out. Put a little bit more intensity on the stretch by stepping forward into it. Come back to breathing. Don't rush. Don't let your mind get hasty or distracted. It's easy to kind of bypass these little motions like, oh, it's just the feet. It's like, this is the base of your body. You need to make sure your roots are strong. Right? Eventually you can apply more pressure, like I'm putting all my body weight into it. I can lean into it. Don't force it, especially if you haven't done this much. Good, then I'll probably go into another round of opening and strengthening the front of my shin. Good, so of course you can apply as much tension as you want here. Just slide back more. Right, rotating it. Pull, 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 hold, rotate. Right, so say you're gonna shoot for 20 repetitions. Applying different styles of tempo for your repetitions is intelligent. So I might go strong, quick, 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 hold, pause, feel, isometrically contract. Good, now I might rotate it with that contraction held. That's feeling tough, great. Get another pulses, a couple slow. Starting fatigue out, do a couple more. Okay, switch. Your feet, your calves, your tibialis anterior, they are meant to endure a ton of volume. Walking, running, hunting. They have evolved to be really strong and to take kind of a lot of abuse. So if they haven't been operating that way for a long time, because we've been sitting and they've been in their little foot prisons of shoes that we call shoes these days, then you need to spend time doing these types of things to re-strengthen the feet, which will inform the leg as you walk, as you ambulate, as you walk about. Right? Gotta spend the time. Good. Usually afterwards, I will put on my little toe spacers, and I'll go about my day with the nice spread toes, feeling like an absolute freak of a monkey man, but knowing that my feet are rooted, powerful, strong, and badass. Let me know how that goes. Try it out. Get some happy feet.